Crafty people, this is Ellen with EGI Designs, and thanks so much for stopping by. Today we're going to be making a sheetload of cards, and this is the September 2025 sketch, and this is from Call Me Crafty Al. I will link over to her video where she shows the process and things like that, and you can download this free printable, and it's two-sided. Every month she puts out a new sketch on the first of the month. It will tell you all that you need to know. In this particular one, yields 8 cards if you follow the instructions. You can also make a single card following these instructions. I just fell in love with this sketch. I could not wait to get going on that. I just thought it was really cool. So, and then on the back, if you're going to be making the 8 cards, this is your cutting guide for all the papers. I will link over to her page so you can download the sketch. So yeah, let's get started. What I want to do is I've put together 7 of the cards, and I've left one for us to do together just to show you a little bit how that would work. I'll tell you anything that I changed. This sketch is a great jumping off point. So if there's pieces of it that you want to change, you want to adjust the triangles, you want to have it horizontal, you can do that. This sketch is very versatile. What I wanted to use for this, I wanted to kind of get a jump on my Christmas cards. I thought this was a great sketch for that. I picked up the Christmas Floral Plaids from Paper Wishes, hot off the press. And this is a gorgeous set. It has 6 pieces to the set, or you can purchase them individually. I do have a video where I went through each thing step by step and showed all the papers and everything, and I will link that over on the top, for a little card on the top, and I will also put it in the description so that you can check that out. I don't want to have to take up our time going through all of this with you today, but you can check that out if you're interested. But basically there is a 6x6 patterned cardstock, there is chipboard pieces, there is a die set, die cut, like punch out die cuts that you can just add right on, makes for an easy card. And then there is the gorgeous 12x12, and then it also has the matching solids. So I used the solids, the pattern paper, and the die set on this project. So we can go through that. Let's see, let me pull out my stuff here. Okay, so I did 2 different sets of cards. I did one that was more kind of this bluey, blue-green, gray kind of color. And I had one that was more traditional red, like kind of vintage red, vintage green. So I have 4 and 4, but I wanted to put this one together. I did make the card bases out of, let me show you. I just picked this up on Amazon. This is the Cardstock Warehouse Paper Company. It's the Speckletone collection, and it's the Oatmeal color. And this is a great craft color because it's a little bit lighter. So I really like that to go with this kind of vintagey look we were doing. Alright, so first thing, card base. This is a regular A2, so it's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4 already, and I like to use either the ledge of my trimmer or a Scor-Buddy, and you can just match it up in the corner here, make sure it's lined up, and then use your bone folder. A lot of times when you score, like the score line actually takes up room, so a lot of people find that their card bases are off just a little bit. So if you use a ledge and put the sides against it, and then kind of go out from there and then crease it, then you will get that exactly as you wish it to be. Alright, so we have our card base, And all right, just trying to get my pieces here. I did cut out from the die set a bunch of the hollies, and there's a bunch of like the pine and stuff like that, so I'll show that to you as I go along on the cards later. I will show you all of the beautiful cards that I made, but so we have lots of different pieces, and I used the solids to make these, and then I inked them a little bit on the edges with this Altenew Mocha ink, just so to give a little bit of depth on there. But there's lots of different shapes, and I'll show you when we get there the different ones I used on the other cards. I did, just to, as I was playing around, like, check these out. These are made out of the Paper Wishes. Check this paper out. Look at that. The red brushed diamond papers. So I made a Christmas rose from that die set and a poinsettia. So they were a little bright for the vintagey look that I was going for on these cards. But I wanted to test it out and see what that looked like. So these would be fabulous on a Christmas card. Alright, let's get going. Like, where to even start here? So the sketch does not have a mat. So this kind of plaid here is what this is, and then this is right on the card base. But I really wanted that matted look for that, so I cut this out of the solids pack. This piece is 4 by 5 1/4, and then this piece is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And I will put the measurements in the description box of things that I changed. This is the only one that I really changed on there, just because I wanted that matted look. But alright, first thing, I wanted to kind of vintage all of this stuff up. I really liked this mocha for doing that. So I'm just using a blending brush, and I'm going to go through, and I'll speed it up a little bit, but I'm going to ink the edges of all of these things, just to kind of give them that vintage look. So okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to get this attached. And I did just use my tape runner to do that because I didn't want to use wet glue and then try to use my trimmer through the wet glue. You could, if you glued all these ahead of time and then they were dry, you could definitely use your trimmer. So alright, so now that we have this, we need to get a trimmer, and I really liked for this to use my Guillotine trimmer. So you can kind of see, like, do you want, because you have to cut it at the diagonal, so do you want it, you know, like this way or this way? I think I'll do this way because then there will be flowers on both sides. So on this trimmer, I'm just lining up the corners right along the blade there, along the edge. Okay, so now we have the two pieces. And then I'm going to bring my Scor-Buddy back in. So what I like to do then is look at this, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. Some of the other ones have a little bit more directional look. So you can kind of see like, okay, how do I want, do I want it like this? Do I want it like this? And then also, how do you want the flowers? And then you can kind of see what's going on with that. I think I like it this way, but when we put the embellishments on there, it's going to cover that up. So maybe I'll go that way so we can still see that pretty flower there. Alright, so this is what the card panel is going to look like. I'm using my Scor-Buddy because I'm going to be able to get this, you know, right even with this, because it's all butting against the same thing. So it's a little bit of a trick. Alright, this one I am actually going to use glue so that I can get a little wiggle time. Hopefully glue will cooperate today. And the answer is no. Okay. So I'm just making sure this is in the corner, and then I'm putting this on and sliding that into the corner as well. And everything's along the bottom. And give it a little rub. Okay, so then you just turn that around. Okay, so then that's all set. Like, I just love the way that this looks. It looks so cool. I'm probably going to be making a birthday card soon with this too, with some beautiful florals. So stay tuned for that. Then I'm just going to add this on. And I also liked putting the matted layer there too, because it kind of looks like this is extended off. So anyway, that was my reasoning for that. Okay, so now we have our card together, and then we get to decorate. So that's exciting. Alright, first thing, put those to the side so I don't lose them. So I made these tags to put on the front here. These tags are from the time it's a stamp, and this is the nested tag set, which is great. You get a lot of choices on that. And then I have a stamp that is from Simon. That's the Making Spirits Bright. And look at this. Like, look, these gradings are awesome. So I have the Merry and Bright, is the one that I picked. So I still have it in here in my Misty. So if you're making, if you're mass producing cards or doing the sheetload of cards, the best thing you can do is mass produce your sentiments. So, you know, once you have the stamp lined up where you need it, you just keep going, keep going, keep going. Like, just, you know, trade out the tag or whatever you're doing, and it's always in the right spot. So you can just keep stamping them all. And it's just a little bit of a time saver. I'm going to use the Mocha. I just like to keep my stamp chamois in my in a DVD case that doesn't have the holes in it. This one I got from, I can't remember. I feel like Checkout Store. I will list it in the description box in case you were wondering where you could pick those up. But anyway, so that is all set. We have our beautiful tag. And then for this one, I did also add the inking to the edge, because this is so stark against this, which is fine, but I was going for that vintagey look. Just adds a little character to it. All right. So I'm going to put this here. We have our little bow, and then we'll cut the tails once we figure out what we're doing. So some of the cards that I made, I did put this flat. Some of the cards I made, I did pop them up. This one I'm going to pop up because I want to tuck the pine behind. But for the ones that were flat, I'll just show you if I have an example. So from the tags that I cut out a little piece of cardstock from this that was like the perfect width right here, and I filled in this gap so that when this was laying flat on here, you didn't get that like weird dip in there. Sometimes if you don't fill in the gap, when you mail it, it can kind of get your card the sentiment like a little warpy or weird kind of thing. So I just filled in that little space with what was left from the tag. In this case though, I will put foam tape on. This one is perfect. Altenew, it's 1 inch and it's 1/16 as the thickness, so it's not very thick at all. But I love this 1 inch because it fits perfectly. And I like these Simon scissors because they're coated, so sticky things don't stick on them. Alright, where's my stuff? Okay. I like to use my vinyl weeding tool to take off the backers. Alright, then we'll put this, and just kind of see where you want it. And you could put this anywhere. You could put it at the bottom, at the top, you know, whatever you want to do. So then we're going to glue these in. I think I want to do it so it looks like a little bit of a spray coming out from underneath. And I didn't put the foam up here, so I would be able to kind of tuck that underneath. What am I doing? Where's all my stuff? And I love all the different, I think there's 3 different pine things in that die set. So you can kind of, there's like some that go this way, some that go the other way, and then these little ones. So you have a lot of options for when you want to build little clusters and things. So that's just adding a cute, you know, holiday detail there. Alright, so I made this bow, and this comes from, I just picked this up. This is the Ivory Ribbon Set, and this is at Paper Wishes. So basically it is a whole collection of ivory ribbons, and they're all different. There's like some twine in there, there's see-through, there's green, you got that, I don't forget what that's called, the zigzag one. But lots of cool, really different kinds of ribbons, and they're all ivory, and you don't have to, you know, buy 100 spools of things. You just get like a section of each, so that works out perfectly. I'm just gonna put this on with a glue dot. And because the bows are small, I kind of fold over the glue dot so it's smaller, and then put it on the back. For all of the bows, I did make them all at once and ahead of time, and I glued the backs of the bows so that they would stay how I had made them. I'll show you when I go through all the other cards. Some of them are like, you know, really delicate ribbons and stuff, and I didn't want them to come untied, so that's why I did that. It's a little hack for you, a little tip. Alright, so let's see, how do we want this to go? I think sideways. And just cut the tails how you like them. I find it's best to have a good, these are fabric scissors. I got them on Amazon. They're super sharp. And I really like them because they give nice, really good cuts on ribbons and things. And don't use them for your sticky stuff because you don't want to do that. Okay, so here is our card. I think it looks so cute. I will show you, I went through and I had mass produced the insides. So I have 4 insides that are the bluish color, and I have 4 insides that are the red and green. For the blue ones, I used the Distress ink in Salvage Patina because that's perfectly with that. And then with the red and green ones, I used Rustic Wilderness. And these are just, I had some scraps from when I cut out the papers, so I just glued on a piece there. Let's stick this in here. Okay. So look at this, like so easy, gorgeous, vintagey, Christmas looking. I love it. I wanted to show you for the papers. So this is a great sketch. If you have, yeah, look at this. Absolutely gorgeous. If you have those papers that have the florals all down one side and you're kind of like, how am I going to use this in my card making or project? This particular paper, I made all of the blue cards out of. So, and this is a perfect sketch to use, this kind of a paper, because I cut off this strip so that I can make the squares and then cut them accordingly. They're 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, so I just went and cut them all. But then I had these 2 strips, and I could get 4 panels from here as the background panels. So you can see that there. So I basically used this entire sheet of paper making 4 cards. And so I had my decorative and then I had my panels. So for the red and green cards, which I'll go over with you in just a moment, I cut off one side of these, and I really wanted to use this plaid. I love this plaid. So same thing, I just cut off the strip here, made the squares into it, and then used this one as the background. So for the mats, so these are double-sided. This is in the solids pack. I used a little bit lighter so that would match with the blue. And then for the red cards, I used this side because it's a deeper kind of vintagey red, you know. So that, I just want to explain how I use the papers for that. I would ask that if you have enjoyed this tutorial so far today, if you could hit that subscribe button and maybe even a like, I would greatly appreciate that. Alright, without further ado, I will show you the other cards. So here's the one we made today. And then, so here's the red with the green. Look at how gorgeous this is. This is what I was saying. This is like probably like a chiffon ribbon or something, and I wanted to make sure it stayed tied, so I'd put the glue on the back to dry. Again with the spray, and then here's the inside for that, and I just used the scrap and then the rustic wilderness for that. And then look at this one. Do you see those sparkles? So this was what I did with that. So in the die set, this one I actually just cut apart. I picked like maybe up to here and trimmed it. But if you see on here all these little dots, that is a perfect spot for Paper Wishes Dazzle stickers. These come in all colors, finishes, you know, whatever you like, sparkly, not sparkly, but I use these red foil ones, and I just put them on wherever there was a spot for the berry, and it just adds a little bit of sparkle and shine. So I thought that was cute. I'll go back to a blue one. So this is similar to the first red one. And again with the inside. And then, okay, back to red. So this one's a little bit different of a holly piece. And we have that little twine there. one, back to the sparkle one. And here's the longer piece. I didn't cut that one, but I did add the red dazzle stickers. And then here is the last blue one. We have the stickers, and this is what I was talking about. This one is actually flat, right? It's not popped up. So underneath, I just put a little scrap so that this would be flat. We didn't have that weird dip there. Whereas like this one is popped up. So, and the foam tape kind of helps cover that dip and smooths it out. Well, okay, there are my Sheetload cards for September 2025. I will put in the end screen a link to my card making tutorial playlist if you want to check that out. I have lots of ideas. And I can also link over to my Sheetload of Cards playlist, which is kind of fun to look at. I will list everything that I used today in the description box. I do have affiliate links. And I encourage you to use what you have, but if anything piqued your interest, all that information will be there for you. Again, if you could like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Helps me grow my channel. Come join me on Pinterest, Facebook, and my new blog at egidesigns.com. And until next time, take care, have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Here are a couple more videos I thought you might like. Thanks so much for watching.